Maybe tomorrow I'll do a little test where I'll do a count. Alright, so we are live. Welcome. This is Nick Marine presenting Let's Learn Japanese, course series for the self-study Japanese from basics and beginnings up to intermediate and hopefully advanced. Today, as usual, it's a Let's Read Japanese, so up above is going to be playing a video or audio book of what I'll be reading. Off to the side will be the text or a transcript of what I'll be reading, and read along to the audio, and if I come across a word I don't know, pause the audio and look it up in a dictionary, in this case, Yumi-chan. Cool. And as you can see, this is still continuing Steins Gate. Been taking this slower than expected. I've been doing like one episode a day for the last 3 times. Sorry, not 3 days, 3 times. Okay, thank you JavaScript, or not JavaScript, sorry. Thank you Java Update. Yeah, I've been doing about an episode. Been kind of short, but yeah, it's been fun. Let's see if I can aim for 2 episodes today or whatnot, and try to get through this. This whole maybe reading for, now it's not really reading for 2 hours. It comes out to about maybe anywhere from maybe 80 to 100 minutes, depends on how it is. At least what the anime is. When it was books, it's kind of a variable length because chapters are different lengths. I try to keep it to a chapter, but again, that's depending. What else am I thinking? But again, it's just talking about consistency, which is what I'm not doing. And same thing with the whole immersing thing. I'm not immersing like I should be doing. So yeah, again, that's a fault on my own. So I don't think that's a fault with the method so much, because again, it's a method a lot of people have used. I've actually gotten pretty good at it. And again, the more you do it, the better you get. It's just as simple as you can really put it. Try to make it comprehensible. So through the study, you can help make it comprehensible. Through the immersion, that's when you then internalize everything. Like you make it then it's a natural part of your, instead of it being more of a structural, active thinking aspect. Again, it's just more subconsciously. You get it like that. And yeah, my reading comprehension is much stronger than my listening comprehension, which is expected. It's kind of funny. There was a time when people probably would say that the listening was easier than the reading, because again, they tried to make the reading more difficult by not trying to put it off until later. So of course, it was the harder part. For me, it's not really putting off the listening, but I could be playing a lot of this audio a lot more often. And it does help if I listen to it at night, and I'm not doing that. Yeah. Sorry about this turning into kind of like a pity fest. It's not that. It's just I'm trying to be realistic about what I'm doing, and so if I don't make achievements as quickly as I would like, it is, if I'm reasonable or rational about why that's not happening, at least it's acceptable. And just don't do that, or try to not do that. Try to improve it, and it's not a guarantee that it's going to happen, but I can at least give it a shot and try. This weekend, I went out a couple of nights. A little bit of social distancing is still there, but again, they are opening up places so you can go out and start mingling with strangers and whatnot. So that was interesting because I hadn't done that in a while. So that was it's something you kind of forget that you you enjoy after it's kind of been a while. But yeah, it's Japan, so yeah, that's you just realize like, wow, my Japanese really sucks. So that's probably what I was trying to lead to. Is like I could communicate, but again, it's just not like where I would like it to be. Again, it's just one of those things where I can listen here. It is funny though. You go to this. It's kind of this funny situation where the instant somebody sees you, they're immediately trying to speak bad English, even though it's obvious. Like at least because I'm speaking to other people in Japanese and they don't know any English, so it's got no problem there. So we're communicating more, but it's like the guy refusing to speak Japanese at all. It was just kind of funny when I think about it. It's like, one person's trying to speak Japanese All right, and the other person's trying to speak English, so they're all like, you know, it's like, yeah, pick the language that's strong between the two, and don't worry about it, and whatnot. Plus, you're in Japan, so don't sweat it. I don't know. Again, it happens now and again. It's just kind of funny when it does. The easiest way you can solve that, if make sure that they learn a few words in like German or Spanish, learn a few phrases, and only use those if you're not going to be speaking Japanese, and then they're not going to try to speak English. It's like, oh, I don't understand English. Okay, shit, I got to stick to Japanese now. Okay. Anyway, let's get to it. 5 minutes. So first thing, as always, we're going to try to read the news. By the way, I also went out to sing karaoke, and my voice just cracked after the third song. Like, it just got destroyed. And I've done it where I could go like the whole night. And yeah, this one I couldn't. My voice was like, even hitting just a normal note, it was like, just shut down hard. It's like, okay, yeah, cut the song off, I can't do this. Okay. Oh, well. Okay, so anyway, here's what's going to happen. Going to be reading the news, and up to about the half-hour mark. I've got to give you some warning. Like, I don't have control over. Okay, I'm not going to control over what's being read, other than the length of the video. If it's over a minute and a half, then I'll probably avoid it. But beyond that, yeah, it's whatever. It's going from starting with the number one position and going on down the list. That's about it. Okay, let's go. See what we got.
警察庁により
24年前に心が分からなくなり、OK。北朝鮮には可能性。Okay, so about maybe the two Japanese women that are kidnapped by North Koreans, and most likely for purposes. One thing you hear, like to teach the some of the people that are intending to become spies in to infiltrate Japan, something like that. Let's see.
警察庁によりますと、見つかったのは1996年に国内で行方がわからなくなった当時10代の女性2人です。2人は知人で同時にいなくなっていました。北朝鮮による拉致の可能性が排除できないとされ、警察が行方を探していましたが、今年4月、国内で2人が一緒に遺体で見つかったということです。警察庁は女性のプライバシーなどを理由に詳細を明らかにしていません。これにより、警察などが北朝鮮による拉致の可能性が排除できないとしている行方不明者は876人となりました。
Okay. So yeah, that's kind of a sore spot between Japan and North Korea, among a few other things. But okay, let's see what's number 2. Okay, so that's the basically a corona tracking application. So you basically are giving the information to the program. It's going to track, and then it's going to see what other people who have the program have been in contact with you or within a distance, and then if someone ends up being affected, they can then backtrack to say, hey, this person was in contact with you or within a certain number of people, to where there's a possibility you got either primary or secondary, maybe even tertiary exposures, and then okay, hey, either get checked out or maybe isolate yourself. All right, let's see how this works.
新型コロナウイルスの感染者と接触した可能性を知らせる接触確認アプリのダウンロード数がおよそ241万件に上ることが分かりました。接触確認アプリココアは新型コロナウイルスの感染者と接触した可能性がある人に通知が届き、検査や保健所のサポートが速やかに受けられるようになっています。ココアは今月19日午後3時に運用が始まり、昨日午後5時までのダウンロード数はおよそ241万件に上るということです。
Like that, 上るという。Alrighty. Wemi komi? Nado, ni wa nado. Okay. Wemi komi de, kuri kuri. 証言棒。はやぶさ。So it's a bird? Hayabusa hawk. Falcon, okay.
東京調布市の商業ビルの植え込みで
調布市の商業ビル猛禽等の
猛禽類の超原棒とみられる鳥が見つかりました。見つかったのは京王線の調布駅前にある
京王線の調布駅前にある
商業ビルパルコの植え込みです。パルコによりますと、今日午後になって建物の外側の植え込みに鳥がいるのを確認しました。この鳥はハヤブサの仲間の超原棒とみられ、通りすがりの人たちが珍しそうにその姿をスマートフォンで撮影していました。4時間近く飛ばずにその場にとどまっていましたが、午後4時過ぎ、警察官が捕獲しました。植え込みの上部には巣があり、別の個体も確認できました。鳥などを扱うペットショップによりますと、この鳥は超原棒の若鳥で、巣から落ちたか飛び立った際に何かにぶつかった可能性があるということです。
All right, cool. So yeah, so Falcon. Everybody wanted to go up and take a picture, and then the police finally showed up to take it away. Thank you, Time Zombie, for the subscription. All right. I don't think we really get too many subscribers here, but okay. Thank you. I'm up to 3 subscribers. All right. So that's a nice little easy piece there. So that wasn't too bad. All right, let's see what we got next. Aomori. What's happening in Aomori? Oh, it's drunk driving, huh? Okay. Okay, Aomi, and what is this? Pronouncing. Rokunohe. Rokunohe machi. Aomori Rokunohe machi. Inshu unten. It's inshu unten, yeah. Inshu unten. 一瞬、飲酒運転で、Oh, oh, okay. Okay. Oh, so this one's not a good, nice story.
軽自動車が街路灯に衝突し、
軽自動車が街路灯回廊灯です回廊灯衝突し
乗っていた大学生5人が死傷しました。飲酒運転による事故でした。21日、青森県六戸町で軽自動車が街路灯に衝突して大破しました。車には同じ大学に通う男女5人が乗っていて、このうち21歳の女性が頭を強く打って死亡し、他の4人は重軽傷を負いました。運転していた21歳の男子大学生からは基準値を超えるアルコールが検出されました。
基準値を超えるアルコールを検出された。Okay. Yeah, from the title, I was like thinking maybe 5 had died instead of involving 5 people. Let's look at the title real quick. パトカーを秋の車が直前に引き抜き Okay, oh. So the pursuing car had, well, in the accident, and then the person they were pursuing left the scene. Okay, and this is in Kyoto. Let's see what we got here.
昨日夕方、京都市内でパトカーが追跡中の車がタクシーに衝突し、自転車が巻き込まれる事故がありました。2人が重傷、1人が軽い怪我です。
白いワゴン車が道路を逆走し、交差点を曲がると後ろをパトカーが追いかけていきます。警察によると、この直後の昨日午後6時半ごろ、ワゴン車が京都市左京区の交差点に突っ込み、
京都市左京区の交差点に突っ込み、
タクシーと衝突し、近くを走っていた自転車が巻き込まれました。この事故で自転車の男性とワゴン車を運転していた男性が骨を折る重傷で、タクシーの運転手の男性が軽い怪我です。
安全面に全く配慮のないすごい逃げ方でしたね。結末事故しかないっていう運転でしたから。
安全すらの全く
赤信号無視で行ってバーンっていう音はして白い車が吹っ飛んだり。
ワゴン車は事故の数分前に交通違反を犯し、パトカーに追跡されていて、その際自転車に乗った女性に軽い怪我をさせるひき逃げ事件も起こしていたということです。警察は追跡に問題がなかったかどうか調べています。
Okay. Broken bones, couple of broken bones, but no deaths, so that's fortunate. It's kind of cool, a little video with the car being pulled back over, or the wagon being pulled back over. Let's see what we got here. Let's see, Kircher is asking, what % of these news videos do you understand? Do you have you run them? Well, No, no, I'm reading them as I'm reading. So I understand. If you see me popping pausing and looking at word, then that word I don't understand. But then, yeah, the news story itself, I kind of sort of understand. I may be miscomprehending it. I don't know unless I would have someone there, like if I could explain it to someone who then would tell me like, yeah, that's right, or no, that's wrong. This could also be a good thing to do if you want to do like tutoring, like, have a tutor there and you just play the news real quick, look and see, to explain to them what you understand the news article to be, and then they can correct you. It's like, oh no, you misunderstand. This right here is saying was an accident and the person's not at fault, or oh no, they were being pursued but the people who were involved in the accident were not at fault. It was the other person that was being pursued, something like that. Like, can you understand it? So can you explain the story to the person in your native language? That means that you're comprehending it in the target language. But for that, though, you need, again, someone who's very good in both languages. Hopefully your tutor is that way. SERN 中佐 SERN 中佐安倍内閣不支持 Okay, so 50% disapproval for the Abe administration. Let's see what we got. This is probably going to be very dry.
ANN の世論調査でほぼ半数の人が安倍内閣を支持しないと回答し、支持しないが支持を大きく上回る状態が続いていることが分かりました。調査はこの週末ご覧の方法で行われました。安倍内閣を支持する人は先月17日の前回の調査からわずかに回復し 33.7% でした。一方で支持しない人も増えていて 49.6% とほぼ半数となっています。河井克行前
Oh, that's where the lady got arrested, right? Let's see her name again. Kawai Katsuyuki. Kawai Katsuyuki.
法務大臣と妻の安里参議院議員が逮捕されたことについて安倍総理に政治責任があるとの回答は7割を超えました。都道府県をまたぐ移動
Okay, 都道府県 that's like all 49 prefectures. 都道府県
移動の自粛要請を解除したことについては
自粛要請
早いが 43%、適切だが 44% と評価が分かれました。新型コロナの問題では政府の対応を評価しないが 50% で評価するの 36% を上回っています。また日本に飛んでくるミサイルを迎え撃つイージス・アショアの建設計画を停止した理由について政府は予想以上に費用と時間がかかることを挙げていますが、これには過半数が納得すると答えています。
So So the Aegis platform. Aegis. Let's see if they got the. Aegis ashore. Okay. So Aegis, that's a missile defense platform, and maybe I'm misunderstanding this about how it's kind of like the development of it is basically it's taking more time and more money than they were expecting, and it seems like they're accepting it. Okay, yeah, and this was a complicated one, so I probably misunderstood a lot of what was going on here. Inoshishi. Nani sore? Inoshishi. That's a monkey? No. That's a wild boar. That's wild boar, right? Inoshishi. Yeah, wild boar. Okay. I knew the kanji, but I didn't know the word for it. So Inoshishi, and it's kind of weird because that's one of the. I think it's also one of the zodiac symbols. So they got wild boar. They don't have cat. So there's a little children's story about why the cat didn't get onto the zodiac. So, like the mouse tricked it and think it was the next day. So, as an aside, sorry. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Inoshishi no wana ni 80代女性。Chikuden bamboo forest. Yeah, bamboo grove. Chikurin de takenoko. Takenoko. 鳥中に Okay.
ああ、行ったから足墓場って。ほんだらシダーズこう墓場って。
警察により
Okay, see what's happening here. Okay, so it's a chikurin de 80代の女性がイノシシの罠に so basically she was caught in a wild boar trap. Alright, let's go.
ああ、行ったから足墓場って。ほんだらシダーズこう墓場って。
警察によりますと昨日午後2時半ごろ宮城県栗原市の竹林で
You notice it said Kino, but that's the 15th. So what day was this? Okay, this is on the 16th. Okay. Miyagi県。
タケノコ採りをしていた80代の女性がイノシシの罠にかかったと竹林を所有する女性の弟から警察に通報がありました。女性はおよそ1時間後駆けつけた消防隊員に救助されました。罠は栗原市が設置したもので設置場所の近くには看板や赤いリボンを付近の木に巻きつけ注意を促しているということです。
栗原市。Okay. Okay. Just put up the warnings for the. I put up a billboard and a red ribbon just to make sure, hey, there's a trap here. Okay, so yeah, maybe broken bone and taken to a hospital just in case. All right. Yeah. All right. So that's the 30-minute mark. So that was about seven-ish. Let's see what we got here. 7 or 8. Yeah, it looked like 8. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so that was like 8 or so. And again, just, you know, do this for about a half hour a daily. And I think a half hour, 10 hour, I think you'll find it's fun. You start getting used to some of the stuff they're saying, so that's kind of cool. You know, you're going to run into things that are just going to be way beyond your level. Like, again, with the SERN shosa, so like the pole, that one, part of it was kind of difficult, but again, they were talking about some of the things they were mentioning in the poll was things that were also in the news that I was reading. Now I didn't read up on the minister or his wife being arrested, so that part I haven't actually followed that story because it hadn't come up in any of the stuff I'm reading. Anyway, Kurtz was saying, hey, can you talk about the benefits of doing this method compared to just reading the news? Well, I mean, you're hearing how it's pronounced, so that's right off the bat. And if you want to, you can then look at the video, re-watch the video, and you've got a much higher comprehension because you read the story, you looked up stuff you didn't know. So when you re-watch the video, now you have because you have a much higher comprehension, you're going to get a lot more out of it. But now you can also then get more from the visuals as well. Just an idea. I decided to stop doing the rewatch. One is because some of the stuff is due to copyright. It will get a copyright strike on when I upload this to YouTube. So I decided to instead just go with, like you're seeing here, like images cut off. I'm pausing a lot, looking up stuff, so it's not playing through the whole thing. Whereas before, what I was doing is like I'd show the whole video as on the replay after I've done the let's read part of it, and then that actually got me a couple not a takedown notice because that's a bad one, but just a little strike where it just said, hey, they didn't want to show it in Japan, or I'm sorry, they didn't want to have it shown outside Japan. And I did find out that yeah, not everyone has access to this. Like the link that I sometimes share with this. In fact, I need to put the link into the video description from now on. But the some of these videos are not available outside of Japan, which is unfortunate. But yeah, yeah, it's fun. Now, if you want to, and it's not too difficult. What if I wanted to? I could like then take all these news clips and copy the text and then paste it, right? Paste the text into a text file, and then save that up, right? And then after about, let's say, a month of me doing this, take those sentences and then put them into sentence forms, because right now they're in paragraph form. So you break it down into sentence forms, throw that into Anki, run it through Morphman, and actually could probably learn some good news specific vocabulary this way. So it's not too difficult. And it's kind of cool because if you do it right, like, because I'm keeping that text file, so I can then refer to that text file. So if I was like, hey, where's this? Because I've probably forgotten the whole context of what that sentence came from, but I look at the text file. Oh, right, yeah, okay, because there's the whole article, and then there's that sentence that's coming up with Morphman. We all learned. Yeah, no, I mean about the coronavirus. Yeah, that's the thing that's popped up a lot, just because you'll see like about the application here, the Corona application, and again it talks about the infection. They didn't mention about spreading, but that's also come up when they mentioned like, oh, there's been like an outbreak in the Shinjuku or the Kabuki show area of Tokyo. Because that's where a lot of nightlife stuff, where people stay out really late getting drunk. Well, that's everywhere over in Japan, but yeah, in this area, there tends to be a lot more outbreaks in that area, just because of the nature of the business, I guess. Yeah. All right. And again, it's fun for me, but it might be boring to other people. I tried this way back when with NHK News, and this is back when I first started trying to learn Japanese before I stopped. And I guess my level I was trying it before I could build up a good vocabulary. So that's what I don't recommend that. That was when I was falling in the whole all Japanese all the time. But I think the fuck up there was, again, if you try full immersion before you've actually started learning Japanese, then you're not getting much out of the immersion. It is noise, and in fact, it can actually work against you in that you're not having fun, and if you're not having fun, you really don't want to do something. And when there's comprehension, then you're more willing to. That's kind of like, I wasn't into Japanese dramas until I started learning Japanese, and I didn't actually like it at first. But then I watched it with English subtitles at first. I started doing that, and I was thinking like, okay, let me watch it first with English subtitles, then watch in Japanese. I stopped doing the whole rewatching in Japanese, which was a bad thing. I even tried I'd watch it with the English subtitles, but then I'd rip the audio, and then so the audio would be on my iPod and be playing all the time. So I'd be listening to it. But again, since I didn't build up the comprehension of what I was hearing, like on a sentence by sentence basis, looking up words I don't know, because I didn't do that. Really, that audio was incomprehensible, and so it wasn't doing me any good, even though I was doing that for a year. But when I started doing stuff like this, and I did it accidentally, but just kind of like on a sentence by sentence level, listening to it, listening to what's being said, read what's being said, so that you don't have to worry about accents or anything, or background noise or whatever. You then fully comprehend what's going on, and then that turned the audio. Now it's comprehensible audio, and I was getting a lot more out of benefit from than listening to that all the time. And that did help my listening. It did help my speaking. By the way, I will mention that. I should keep doing that, and I'm not. It's bad on my part, but let me just put it this way: I don't like sleeping with earphones in anymore. I think it's like super dangerous anyway, because of if it's these earphones like that. I don't think you want to have. Maybe if it's over the earphones, that would be fine, but I don't have those. But if I slept listening to that would be fine. I can't have the audio playing out loud because that would bug the hell out of my wife. It just isn't going to happen. So that's not. And it's kind of weird. Like I'm not walking around listening to it all the time, but I should. When I was doing it, it was helpful. So if you get a chance, try it. But again, real life has to come in. You have to take real life into account, and sometimes that's just not going to be an issue. Interesting. So passive listening was not showing good results, but active learning has been more successful. But I'm saying by doing the active learning, then using that audio from the active learning into my passive listening, then it worked. If I just took any Japanese audio, it didn't work. Like if I just for the longest time, I've had the TV on a Japanese news station or something and been playing all the time. I get zero benefits from that. So right now in the background, you probably can't hear it, but it's a show which I've done a Let's Read on. In this case, Geikon Dekinai Toko. So that's playing all the time. But I also got you probably can't see it, but I've got the kind of like on here. You'll see the subtitles are nice big letters. So it's mainly just it can be passive listening, but also passive reading. And if I look up, there's the text. So I'm just it's just passively there, so I can pay attention to the story, even if I'm not hearing it, or if I'm paying attention to something else or whatnot. I don't know why. It's my thing. Yeah. What does your wife think? Probably bugs the hell out of her. She talks to me in English all the time, so it's like, and yeah, it's just, yeah, don't look for too much support from your spouse. Sometimes they just think whatever you're doing looks silly. So it's like, even though it's kind of a funny, like, let's say Saturday night. Remember I said I went out. So Saturday night went out and I took my smartphone, had the Anki on it, so I had it. And then I decided, okay, hey, let me do a game with a few of the other natives. And so I set Anki to read forward, so the kanji, because I caught up on all my kanji reviews, so I said, okay, here, let me do a read forward. So I put the kanji app up, and it wasn't kanji app, sorry, it's Anki, but it was the RTK optimized app. So I show it to them, so can you write this kanji from memory? And I would write the same. I'd hide what I wrote, and then they'd write it, and then it's like, okay, good. And I was getting more of them right than they were, which I think is kind of cool. But again, it wasn't just RTK, so they were using the Japanese words, so they knew what, they couldn't see they didn't understand that. I had to explain to one lady, it's like, yeah, I'm looking at the English word more often than not, but I could also be looking at the Japanese words. But again, it was kind of cool in that 3 or 4 different people could actually we were like, it's basically turned it into a game. And really, believe it or not, Japanese have fun doing kanji games. I mean, if you watch Japanese variety shows, occasionally they'll have a kanji game thrown up there where they're like one on Saturday was they'd throw up 10 kanji, and then they'd have a part of the kanji marked in red. And the idea is like, hey, what is that stroke order of that part of the kanji? And they'd have a number. And then the contestants, the celebrities basically, all had to go through and then put, of the 10, which of those 10 kanjis had the wrong answer, right? And some people were getting it wrong because, like, you know, again, they're not very familiar with stroke order because that's a hard thing to remember because they remember it by rote. Whereas someone who does RTK, we remember it by parts. So, like, since I already know how remembering the stroke order of the parts is super simple compared to trying to memorize 21 stroke orders in order without context. But yeah, but all those I remember on the show, I looked at it and I got all 10 of them correct. Whereas some of the natives are on there, you know, got a few of them wrong because, you know, they might, and it's by one, you know, it's just a matter of like, oh, was this stroke number 3 or was it stroke number 4? So it's not that big of a deal. It's a simple mistake, but it can happen. But yeah, and it was fun here because, you know, because the application, it was the one that was popping up where like kanji's number is 1001 to 1500. So that's in that 5% range. So the first 500 kanji are in the 75% range. The next set of 500 kanji are in the 15% range. So 1 out of every 6 kanji. And this was the third set, so that's 1 out of every 5% range. So 1 out of every 20 kanji. All right, so it's more likely you're not going to write it as often because again, it's 1 out. If you're going to be writing, if you're just writing normally, then maybe 1 out of every 20 kanji that you write is within that group of 500. You know, so it makes sense. It's easy to forget how to write it. Yeah, I'm confused when I see similar kanji. And to me, you know, when you get used to it, then the similar looking stuff here, this is the world apart. Just one extra stroke in your mind, you know it's just a completely different kanji, and you recognize that completely different kanji. Get some water. But anyway, yeah, that was fun. I thought it was interesting because I did it. One gentleman, he was working at the bar, so he's a younger guy. So I expected usually the younger guys, younger people, they have a bit more difficulty with it, and just I don't know why. Then I went to a restaurant and I was doing it with a friend, and she's a nurse, and then another couple that were sitting next to us, and the lady was taking notice of what we were doing, so she got involved with the game. So it's like, so all 3 of us were like doing the kanji game, and so I thought it was kind of fun, and then whatnot. Then my wife showed back up, and then said, "Oh man, you don't stop bothering people," and then so we stopped, because she thinks like it's bothering people, even if they're having fun. So it's fun, because probably because it annoys her, so she thinks it's going to annoy other people. Okay, anyway. Let's go with the readings. All right. Steins Gate, episode 4. I really should have slept more last night. I'm still tired. 6 hours is not enough sleep. Rendezvous of abstract fluctuation. What the hell that's supposed to be?
実験結果、ヒューマンイズデッド、ミスマッチ。ヒューマンイズデッド。おう、人が死んだ。だと思う。多分。その先は詳細はゼリーマンズレポートナンバー14参照。
詳細。ゼリーマンズレポート。
ゼリーマンズレポートなんだ。僕がわかるわけないっしょ。ただこっちのサーバーに妙なデータベースがあるから。なんだこれは。多分なんかのプログラムのコード。
Sorry, it's just a compile.
わかるか。こんなん絶対わかんない。死ね数が。
もうやめた方がいいよ。
はあ、ここまで来れば楽勝と思ってた時期が僕にもありました。
ご苦労だった。休んでいいぞ。
言われなくてももう無理。
あ、ダル君おでんかあるよ。
ありがとう。
プログラムコード。
IBN5100 はベーシック言語ができる以前に作られたパソコンだから、 IBN 独自のプログラム言語も読めるとか。
セルンの企みを防ぐには IBN5100 の機能が必要なのです。あなたとは一度ゆっくりお話ししてみたい。私のメールアドレスです。連絡いただければお返事します。
ずいぶん多いね。
俺も誰もずっと徹夜続きで家に戻っていないからな。しかもダルは T シャツからパンツまで 3XL だ。
はあ、フェリスちゃんだ。
忠告しよう。一つ、俺の名は法王院京馬。一つ、その挨拶は危険。お前もか。というかお前たちいつの間に。
同じビルにいるからね。顔見知りにもなるよ。すずさんにはこのライネットカードをもらったのです。
ライネット？
ゴールド。どこ行くの？お洗濯だよ。オカリンとダル君徹夜続きだからね。
バイト真面目にやらねえとクビにすっぞ。
やっ
ぱ岡部もうちのバイトに手をつけんじゃねえ。
欲情しているのはあなたの方ではないのか、ミスター・ブラウン。
てめえ、苗がいる前でそういうことを言ってみろ。
苗はOK。苗がいる前で。
マジで殺すからな。
苗？あの小動物か。
人の娘を動物扱いすんじゃねえ。大体俺がそんなガキに欲情するか。
私はガキじゃない。一人前の戦士だよ。
ああ？
いい目だバイト戦士。その目を忘れるな。そうすればいつか真の戦士へクラスチェンジできる。
いいから黙ってろ。お前が話すと。
だから私はもう戦士だってば。
なんでうちの周りには変なのばっかり集まってくるんだろうな。
じゃあね。
俺たちも。これは真由里の癖だ。俺は勝手にスターダストシェイクハンドと呼んでいる。
お星様に手が届かないかなって。
星なんて見えないだろう。
あのね、お昼でもお星様はそこにあるんだよ。
あれだけの電磁波よ。携帯電話が誤作動する可能性は十分考えられる。
誤作動？
でもバナナは確かに。
この電話レンジカッコ仮はタイムマシンだ。
なわけあるか。
こんなんなっちゃったの？
閉めるぞ。
あ
ダルは宇宙同様日々膨張を続けているからな。シャイニングフィンガーか。タイターは何をしている？メールをよこせと言っておいて。スーパーハカーさんのしつこい。
連絡ありがとうございます。いただいたプログラムが表示された画像ですが、確かにそれは IBN が独自に開発したプログラム言語であり、解読するには IBN5100 が必要なものです。
聞け！これより未来ガジェット研究所は緊急極秘作戦を発動させる。
発動させる。
オーカリ、急にどうしたの？
ダル起きろ。これから世界を陰で操る巨大な闇との戦いが始まるのだ。
おい、でかいってもう。
セールンだ。奴らは世界的な研究機関でありながら邪悪な研究に見入られて巨大な陰謀を企てている。世界にマッドサイエンティストは2人もいらん。奴らに先んじられる前に我らが出し抜いてやるのだ。
何言ってるかわかんないよ。
とにかくまずは IBN5100 を手に入れ、そしてセルンの謎のプログラムを解読する。出かける準備だ。
でもマユシーは今日はバイトなので。
結局一人か。情報交換してみるのも手か。助手か。待って。
何よ。
ちょっと来てもらおう。
ちょっと。もうカタンとこおかしくなっちゃったじゃない。
カタンとこ。
こっちの情報はほぼなし。役に立たんやつめ。
なんで私が睨まれてるわけ？
気にするな。お前が原因ではない。
八つ当たりならやめてほしいんですけど。
八つ当たりなら。
拗ねてるのか？前よりもへそを曲げたのではないかと心配していたぞ。いい年をして子供じみた真似はよすのだな。
あんたにだけは言われたくない。それより話って何よ？
簡単なことだ。いつまでも拗ねていないでラボに戻って働け、クリスティーナ。
せめて呼び名くらい統一してほしいわけだが。
人の話。初期ザゾンビ。
聞いてないのはどっちだ。はあ、どうしてこんなのと関わり持っちゃったんだろう。好奇心に負けてあの時の自分を殴りたい。
またか。
そんなに嫌なメールなの？
あまりにも常識外れな。もしやあの女も機関のエージェント。
機関？何それ？
機関は機関だ。世界を影から操る国家を超越した秘密組織であり、
超越した。
どう見ても陰謀論です。本当にありが。
どうした？
なんでもない。本当なんでもないから。それ以上追求したら殴るわよ。
追求敵 Desire? Pursuit? Yeah, pursuit.
ふん、八つ当たりか。ついてこい。洗濯物を回収後任務を与える。
はあ
Wait, are you the guy that made the Tango decks? Yes, I'm the guy. Well, I didn't type it up. I just, yeah, made the decks that shared to people. Yeah. If you own the book.
のこのこついていくとでも洗濯？へえ、こんなところにあったんだ。
ホテルにはついていないのか？
結構いいホテルだからついてないのよ。かといって着たもの全部クリーニングに出すのも性に合わなくて。
性に合わなくて。
俺のおかげで見つかったのだ。
Wait a minute. 性に合わなくて。Goes against my nature. Okay.
感謝して。変化なしか？
当たり前でしょ。回ってれば何かが起きるとか思ってない。
当たり前と思われるところにこそ答えは隠されているものだ。そもそも電子レンジと電話をつなげたものでタイムマシンが生まれたのも。
タイムマシンじゃない。
あ？
あれは何かの間違いよ。タイムマシンなんて存在するのはとんでも科学の世界だけ。私はそんなものには組みしない。
なぜそこまで自分の目で見たものを否定する？
別に。
もしや過去のトラウマ？そう、あれは5歳の頃、クリスティーナはアーカンソーの草原で雷に。
アーカンソー。In Arkansas, saw, you go to Arkansas, you saw, Alex, you saw. Okay.
誰とランは？
ならなぜだ？
言ってるでしょ。理論上ありえないからよ。
理論など単なる言葉遊びに過ぎん。いい加減目の前で起きたことを認めるんだな。
嫌よ。
何を意固地に。
嫌だって言ってる。私は父と同じ失敗は繰り返さない。ごめん、感情的になった。
気にすることはない。今はお前の失踪を確かめるために資
質、right? お前の資質を
わざと怒らせたのだから。
とにかく電話レンジはタイムマシンなんかじゃない。
分かった。無理にラボ面に誘って悪かったな。もう来なくていい。だがこれだけは伝えておく。ラボ面ナンバー004は永久欠番とする。
永久欠番？プロ野球の球団が永久欠番。永久欠番。
この番号はずっとお前のものだ。
何かっこつけてんのよ。
何をする。粋な別れの演出だったのに。
それが頭にくるの。あんた洗濯物残ってるでしょ。私が出ていく。じゃあね。何よ。
お返しだ。己の軽率な行動を反省するのだな。
軽率。軽率卒業。OK。軽率。I'm saying it. 軽率な。軽率な。
はい、じゃあね。
待って、
そこを掴むな。
IBN5100 について何か知っているか？
IBN？
古いパソコンだ。
何に使うの？
気になるか？気になるのだな。
ああ、もう少しだけね。
IBN5100 はセルンの秘密につながっている。
は？
セルンはタイムトラベルについて研究しており、その秘密のプログラムを解明するには IBN5100 の特別な機能が必要なのだ。どうだ、驚いたか？あ、
バカみたい。聞いて損した。
鼻で
Useless to ask. 聞いて損した。
鼻で笑った。おのれ、必ずその生意気な鼻を明かしてやる。首を洗って待っているがいい、クリスティーナ。
首を洗う。
だからティーナじゃないっつうの。
セルンはタイムトラベルについて研究している特別な機能が必要なのだ。たく気になるって言うから教えてやったのに。
パソコン？うん、古いパソコン。確か5100円くらいするとか。5100？ もしかして。
うん？うん。
てってるー。おかり？あのね、まゆしはすごいことを聞いちゃったので。
携帯禁止。
メリちゃんが見たことあるってオカリンが探してるパソコン。
携帯禁止。ちょっと？ったく。って足りないじゃない。
なんだこれは。
皆さん、お待たせしたにゃん。まもなくフェイリス会昼の部を始めるにゃん。みんなが全力でフェイリスに勝って特製ニャンニャンオムライスをゲットするにゃ
よ。なんだこの空間は。
ああ、オカリン、トゥットゥルー。
マユリ、何が起きている？時空間が歪んだか？
違うよ、時
空間。
リス杯だよ。
は？
フェリスちゃんがお客さんみんなとライネットバトルするんだよ。あ、今日も参戦するにゃ。
Join the battle? 参戦 Participate 参戦する。
フェイリスは10人まで一度にお相手できるにゃ。だからまだ
断る。それより IBN5100 だ。どこにある？
それは参戦したら教えてあげるにゃ。
バカなことを言うな。世界の構造が変わるかどうかの瀬戸際なんだぞ。
瀬戸際。見事成功。Victory。失敗の別れね。瀬戸際。
たかがゲームなど
参戦しないならごめんなさいだけど引き取り願うにゃ。
メイドの分際で主人を帰らせる気か。IBN5100 の時間がない。申し訳ないが手加減なしで行かせてもらう。
にゃにゃ。
手加減にして。
いや、すごい自信だにゃ。
オカリン勝てるん？フェイリスタンは全国レベルだお。
勝てるそれはフェイリスにかけるべき言葉だな。俺には全戦必勝の作戦があるのだから。
作戦
作戦行動 G B A C K 名付けてゼーバッカ。
なんかすごそうだよ。面白そうね。
そんなこと言っていられるのも今のうちだ。この作戦が炸裂した時はお前の命はないのかもしれんのだからな
本気だにゃ今日も。
先に言っておくぞ。参戦した暁には知っている情報は全て吐いてもらう。いいな。
猫耳に二言はないにゃ。
Let's see if that's a phrase itself.
勝
負。教えてやろう。決して勝てない相手がいることも。参りました。
マユシーはがっかりなのです。
一体作戦って何だったん？
さあ、ただ今日は自爆するみたいに次々と突っ込んできただけだにゃ。自爆、自爆、自爆？
どう見てもダジャレです。本当にありがとうございました。
ダジャレ？
情報は教えてもらうぞフェイリス。
負けたのに偉そうだにゃ。
俺は参戦した暁には情報をいてもらうと言ったのだ。つまり最初から勝ち負けなどどうでもよかったのだよ。
そうなの？よく覚えてないにゃ。
いや覚えておけよ。頭脳的我が戦略を。
頭脳的っていうか来たねっつっか。
黙れ。 IBN5100 はどこにある？
そう。
知らないのか？
小さい頃パパが持ってたのは確かにあんだけど、今はもうないにゃ。
貴様、まさかそれがギアナコーチで習得したという奥義？
ギアナコーチ。
肩透かし。
なんでわか
肩透かし。Wait a minute。
ったにゃ。さすが今日もフェイリスのスルーショルダーを見破るにゃんって。
本当にそれだけか？
そうにゃ。最後に見たのは確か秋葉原の神社だったにゃ。
神社？
クリス、遠く日本からメールありがとう。質問の件だけど、教授に聞いたら確かに IBN5100 には特殊なプログラム言語を解析する機能が。ついていたってさ、本当だっていうの？
パソコンですか？ちょっとお父さんに聞いてみないと。
IBN5100 だ。わからなければ古いパソコンと言えばいい。
わかりました。聞いてみます。
頼む。最後に合言葉を。
エルプサイコンガリ
カンガルーだ。
カンガルー。
もしもし。
マキセです。
マキセ？悪いが思い出せない。どこで会った？パリかロンドンか。
秋葉原。さっき会っただろうが。
なんだ助手ではないか。クリスティーナといえば住むものを。
ティーナじゃない。
相変わらずキャンキャンとうるさいな。
誰のせいだ、誰の。
何の用だ。
今どこ？
聞いてどうする。
別に。
これから柳林神社に向かおうと思ってい。
柳林 Really? 林柳林神社柳林これから柳林神社
に。なんだ嫌がらせか。嫌がらせなのか。さっきの電話はなんだ。
あんたの居場所を聞いただけ。
誰も呼んだ覚えはないが。
誰も呼ばれた覚えはない。
お待たせしました。
おう、聞いてくれたか。
はい、お父さんに聞いたらそのパソコンなら確かにうちの神社に奉納されてるって。
されてるって。
本当か。パソコンってもしかして IBN5100？
はい、こちらの方は
助手だ。それで IBN。
待て。何その適当な紹介の仕方。
Lazy introduction 適当な紹介の仕方。
つうかそもそも助手じゃないし。
俺はお前を紹介するためにここに来たのではない。
10秒もかからないでしょ。
めんどくさいやつだな。マキセ・クリス助手だ。
はいはい、いいですよ助手で。であなたは？
漆原ルカです。
おいくつなの？
今年で17歳です。
1個下か。
そうなんですか。マキセさん大人っぽいですね。綺麗だし。
そんな、あなたの方こそ。
お父さん呼んできます。
知らぬが仏だな。
どういう意味？
いやー、しかしまさか現実になるとは。
どういうことです？
いえね、奉納されに来た方から言われたんですよ。いつかこのパソコンを必要とする若者が現れるから大事に取っておくようにと。10年くらい前だったでしょうか。
そんなことか。まさに運命の符号。
物事がぴったりと合うこと。
シュタインズゲートの選択。
Fated match 運命の。
だそれか。IBN5100 ポータブルコンピュータ
ー。間違いない。
それでよかったんですかね。
これをお借りできますか。
いいですよ。
感謝します。運ぶぞ、手伝え。
だが断る。
助手だろ、クリスティーナ。
助手でもないしティーナでもない。
台車を持ってきましょう。
貸してもらう上にそんなことまで。おい助手、空気を読め。
はあ？空気を読めって言った？あんたが？
仲がよろしいですね。ルカも仲良くさせてもらうんだぞ。
はい。
ちょっと待っててくださいね。
いいお父さんね。
そうですか？
父と同じ失敗は繰り返さない。何よ。
別に。
すみません、台車壊れてしまっているようで。
なんであんたとそんなことになっているのよ。
黙って運べ。まだ道のりは長いぞ。
さ。
なんだ。
なんでもない。
おっとっとっと、貴様、なんだその挑戦的な態度は。
うわあ、 こら待ってよ、後ろ歩きになっちゃうでしょ。
ビキビ歩け常習よ。
無理、後ろ歩きはさすがに無理。
常習ならできるはずだ。
期待してくれてどうも。でも無理、横歩きへ変更を求む。つうかしろ、転んじゃうから。
Okay. It's raining nice outside. Yeah. It does have a feeling of an RPG element to it, like you're just gathering up interesting cast of characters and gathering up objects to something. Yeah. And you know, they say the visual novel is much better, so I believe them. I'm just not going to read it. So. It'd probably be better to read, but I just haven't set up a the programs to do visual novels. All right. The let's see. Okay, let me pull this out of the way real quick. Let's bring up the other episode. So I'm probably misunderstanding a lot of what's going on. I mean, you can kind of sort of feel the story out, and part of the reason why I do pause is to make sure that it's not necessarily the words I'm worried about, it's the grammar, and make sure that what they're saying corresponds to what what they're trying to communicate, or make sure I'm understanding what they're trying to communicate. And again, that gets easier with the more you watch. But you also need to make sure, is like while you're doing it, you are trying to make an effort to understand. It is better if, when you do this, it's you're kind of checking yourself. So that's why it's a benefit to just listen to it once and reread it at a slower pace, and you get better. And some of it you don't need to follow. But if there's like a fast conversation going on like that, if it wasn't for the text, I would be lost. I would probably be lost. Like, I would be missing out a lot. I'd assume something's important's happening. Like, okay, I kind of get, the old guy, whoever that happens to be, you assume it could be her father, but you may not realize it's her father. It's just the priest that she's working with, for example. It's hard to tell on how that goes about. Thought it was kind of funny. It's like, here, we're going to loan you the car to Daisha. So that's not a wagon. Well, Nekogunama is a wheelbarrow, so yeah, maybe Daisha is a wagon. Maybe I should actually look at that real quick. Yeah. Train cart. Platform truck, hand dolly. Okay. There we go. How does that break, though? That's kind of weird. Yeah, hand cart. Alright, so Daisha. Alright, cool. I was thinking of it as something like a wagon of some sort, but I guess it makes more sense. It doesn't matter. Let's just go on with the next episode. Okay, so starting about hour 20 minutes. So this works. まね。
おいバイト、表頼む。
はーい。
そんなこと言ってない。
言ったではないか。休憩を挟みながらの方が効率的だとか。
あんたこそちょっと歩くたびに昇級。
効率的。
油脂が必要だとか。
あれは機関の追跡から逃れるためだ。
誰も追いかけてこないっつ。
岡部倫太郎。何これ。
ふう、聞きたいか。本来であれば重要機密事項のため簡単に。
重要機密
に教えるわけにはいかないところだが。
ああ、もう長くなるんなら一回下ろすわよ。
帰ろう助手。
だったらもったいぶってないでちゃっちゃと言いなさいよ。
バカを言うな。最重要アイテムだぞ。ここでもったいつけずしてどこでもったいつけるのだ。
もしかして IBN5100？
バレてしまったではないかクリスティーナ。
どこにあったの？
柳林神社に奉納されていたのを。
うなぎ橋神社の奉納されている。
この神に選ばれしマッドサイエンティストである方。
だから長くなるなら下ろすと言ってる。
マキセ、クリス。
はい。この人は
クリス。
ブランカン工房のバイト。
おいバイト、何油売ってんだ。
なんで睨まれたわけ？
お前の目つきが悪いからだろう。
Okay, that was weird. So what? She's a secret assassin? 電気場成物ブラウンランデブ重突のランデブelectrical charge concurrence
本当に大きいね。寅さんの敷物みたいだね。おほー、お布団みたい。
眉毛が僕のシャツの上に。胸が熱くなる光景。
よーし、ゆっくり下ろせ。
分かってるわよ。
クリスちゃん。
ごめんなさいね。また急に来ちゃった。
いつ来てもいいんだよ。ラボメンなんだから。
昨日までは二度と来ないと言っていたのだがな。現金なやつだ。
別に来たくて来たわけじゃない。あんたが手伝えって言うからでしょ。
クリスちゃんやっぱり来たくないの？
いや、そうじゃないの。ここが嫌ってことじゃなくて。
で、その箱は何よ？
聞きたいか？本来であれば
IBN5100。
マジ？すげえよ。さすがオカリン。僕たちにできないことを平然とやってのける。そこにしびれる。
憧れないけどね。とにかく起動させてみるわよ。
見つけられたのはマユシーのおかげなんだよ。
ああ、今回ばかりはお手柄だ。
着いた。
これであのプログラムコードが解析できるんだな。
そんな簡単じゃないって。こいつの使い方わからないし、ネット環境がない時代のものだから繋いでどうこうできるもんでもないし、とりあえずこれだけパーツが必要
だそうだ。頼んだぞ常習。
当然のような顔で言うのやめてほしいんだが。
常習だろ。
違う。
おかりん言ってよ。牧瀬氏秋葉詳しくないだろうし。
仕方がない。まゆり行くぞ。
マユシーはクリスちゃんにラボを好きになってもらえるよう一生懸命案内するのでお留守番しています。
クリスティーナ貴様、まさかまゆりもその色かに。
かけとらんわ。
牧瀬氏がまゆしをゆり展開切った。
想像するな変態。
あの子同士っていいよね。
それより早く案内して。
じゃあまず奥のシャワールームから紹介します。
シャワーもあるんだ。
でもお湯ずっと出してるとたまにお水になっちゃうから注意してね。
ねえ、もしかしてまゆりさんも使ったりするの？
たまに。
お願い、二度とここではシャワーを浴びないって約束して。あまりに危険よ。
こっちを見るな。
自殺行為っていうか、そもそもなぜあなたはここにいるの？何か脅迫されて無理やりメンバーにさせられてるんじゃないの？
マユシーはオカリンの人質なので。
警察に電話した方が良さそうね。今人質って言ったでしょ。動かぬ証拠。
違うよ。マユシーは自分で人質になったのです。
どういうこと？
行ってくる。
いってらっしゃい。
確かこれで代用できたはずだが。
ウィース IBN5100 は使えそう？
こんなところでその名前を口にするな。
パーツ集め手伝おうか？
まさかバイト戦士がこんなにパソコンに詳しいとはな。
IBN のこと詳しい人と知り合いだったから。
本当か？なら連絡を取ってもらいたい。
無理。
拒否すればお前はこの世の地獄を見ることになる。
断ること拒否すれば
無理なものは無理。
命が惜しくないのか？
だって死んじゃったんだもん、その人。何年も前に。
すまん。
こっちこそごめんね。さっき。
うちの助手が何かしたのか？
何も。
先に睨みつけたとか。おう、鼻で笑ったりしたのだろ
う。違うよ、彼女は何もしてない。
それじゃあ
まだ彼女は何も知らない。でも気をつけて、マキセ・クリスには。
どういう意味だ？
爆撃。
花火の中継だろう。確か今日だからな。
花火、花火聞いたことがある。
え、見たことないのか？
どこ？どっち？
その通りを抜け川の方まで行けば見えるはずだ。
ありがとう。
も
うメアド教えて。
お祭り？
花火大会だよ。
花火か。
行きたいの？
別に。
あ、オカリー。トゥットゥルー。
帰りか。
パーツは見つかったの？
ここに全部揃っている。
そう。じゃあこれからいろいろ試してみるわけね。
興味があるか？あるのだな。
ああ、もう少しだけね。でもセルンの陰謀とかいう高等無形なものに対する興味じゃない。
高等無形training without training 高等無形現在性の高等無形
あくまで事実を確かめたいだけ。ごめんなさい。
何？
私やっぱり一度ラボラトリーに戻る。
そっか。じゃあマユシーは帰ります。クリスちゃん、また来てくれるよね？
アメリカ帰るまではメンバーだものね。
じゃあね。
何を聞いているのだ。助手なのだからラボに来るのは当然だろ
う。あんたたち幼なじみですってね。同じ環境で育ちながらどうしてこう社会性がなくなっちゃったんだか。
マイリは昔から変わったところがあったからな。
あなたに言ってるの。
初メールでーす。想像以上。すごいね、花火。
あれっきり一度も。あ、これ借りるわよ。やっぱり落ち着くな、白衣。
ガシッと。俺の目に狂いはなかった。お前は最高だ。
何よ急に気持ち悪い。
白衣。やはり研究機関において白衣こそがユニフォーム。誰も前よりも何度言ってもそれがわからないようだが、お前には分かっているようだな。さあ共に手を突っ込んで立とうではないか。
は
あ、早く。
こう。
そうだ、これぞまさに研究に身を置く者だけが漂わせる知性と恍惚のポーズ。
恍惚。
その白衣はお前にプレゼントしよう。二人で思う存分分かち合おうではないか。
侮辱されているようにしか思えんぞ。
侮辱されているよ。
腹が減ったのか。
うるさいな。お昼から何も食べてないのよ。
いいだろう。今日の俺は気分がいい。美味しくいただけ。
本気か？
不満か？
当たり前でしょ。他に何かないの？
買い置きのカップ麺ならあるが、いらないというのか。やはりアメリカ育ちは。
カップ麺もらうわ。味は何があるの？
醤油と塩だ。
塩味。それとフォークも。早くしないと時間切れで負けになるわよ。諦めたらどうせその端にあるのがウイルスカードでしょ。 バレバレよ。
そう思うならそう思えばいい。
じゃあ私はこれをここに置いて、はい、リーチ。
ほう、助手はドクターペッパーがいける口か？
本場で7年過ごしてきたからな。
お前とはいい飲み友達になれそうだ。
残念だけど私未成年だから。
ドクペを飲み交わす友達という意味だ。
それ限定？
だからこそ意味があるのだ。共に知的飲料であるドクペへの思いを共有し、
知的、知的。You know, I wouldn't think that I was thinking the character was older than, but I guess if she's only supposed to be like 18 or 19, it's kind of weird though. If she's supposed to be like giving lectures on stuff.
とか言いながらこっそり私のカードめくろうとするのやめてくれる？はい、私の勝ち。正直言って岡部は対極的視点に欠けていると言わざるを得ないわね。
対極的。
考えているのはいつも自分の作戦のことだけ。相手がどう考えているとか罠があるかもなんて全く考えてない。
待て！
何よ。
今何と言った？
対極的視点に欠けていると言った。事実でしょ。
その前だ。岡部と言ったな。
だから何よ。確かに私はあんたより年下だけど、を表さない相手には。
違う！俺は法王院だ。何度言えばわかるのだ、クリスティーナ。以後法王院もしくは京馬と呼ぶように。泣いているのか？
泣いてないわよ。男の人に怖い顔で迫られて恐怖を感じたとか、その後ほっとして涙が出たとか、そういうこと全然ないし。
ダル、助手はなんで泣いているのだ？
今本人が全部説明したわけだが。
Be okay or Bioshin? Bioshin. She's on Kizan.
Okay. これをこうし、あら。ん？で、こいつがここにあるってことは、これでこうだ。
助手よ。
助手じゃないが何？
今晩は一度ホテルに戻ったらどうだ？近いのだろう？
ご心配なく。朝になってダメだったら帰るわ。
家族に連絡しなくていいのか？
母はアメリカ。父とは7年会ってない。よって連絡の必要なし。
宝刀天才変態少女というわけか。
宝刀天才変態少女。
変なもの付け足していくな。
来た。やったのか？
ミッションコンプリートセカンド。
それで結果は？
まだ何も見てないよ。ただ Z プログラムは出てきて
1973年と書いてあるのか？
そうね。
セルンの設立は
1954年。
IBN5100 が作られたのは
1975年。
この計画のためにセルンは IBN5100 に特殊なプログラム言語を実装させた。
実装させた。
強引にも程がある。
しかし可能性はある。
それはこのレポートを読めばはっきりするでしょ。きっと陰謀なんか全く関係ない当時の素粒子のレポートかなんかでしょうから。
素粒子 elemental particles。 素粒子のレポートか何かでしょ。
ああ JPEG か。ふざけんな。コピペできねえじゃん。
コピペ、コピペース、コピペ。いきねえじゃん。
フランス語じゃないんだ。時空の支配とそれに基づく歴史の破壊。
時空、タイムスペース、時空の支配。
そっか、マキセ氏英語読めるんか。
でかした助手。お前がアメリカに行ったのも全て今日この時のためだったのだな。
そんなわけあるか。言い換えれば過去から未来までを含む理想郷の実現。
理想郷、理想郷の次元。
それは21世紀に向けてのセルンの存在意義となるだろう。
理想郷、ディストピア。
そんなわけない。前工場はいいから本文を見せて。
前工場。
って言われても、
本実験は機密事項のためじゃなくてプログラム従事者におけるでもなくて、あった。 Z プログラムでは高エネルギーの陽子衝突を用いた時空転移実験を行う。
陽子 proton collider。 Yeah, but the 衝突、陽子衝突を用いてtime travel。
時空転移。
タイムトラベルではないか。嘘ではない。やはりセルンは40年も前からタイムトラベルについて研究を行ってきたのだ。
待って、結論を出すのは早すぎる。プログラム第1段階、大型ハドロンの建設および実用化。プログラム第2段階、リフターの実用化および調整。
リフターなんだ。
LFTR Liquid Fluoride Thorium Reactor。 No。
昔ちょっとだけ話題になったやつっしょ。イオンクラフトとかって呼ばれていたやつ。
イオンクラフト、イオンクラフトと
浮いてる。
アルミに高電圧をかけると起きる現象みたいだけど。
それがタイムマシンに関係あるのか。
わからないけど、ここではそう書かれているわね。つまりブラックホールとリフターの力を利用する。
その先は
プログラム第3段階、動物実験。プログラム第4段階。
どうした。
人体実験。
ヒューマンイズデッド。ミスマッチ。
何？
ハッキングした時に出てきたメールの一部だ。確かその先は。
詳細はゼリーマンズレポートを参照。
ダル、
それを見ることはできるか？
できるとは思うけど、まずくね？これ事実だとしたらマジ国家機密級だって。
ここまで来てビビってるの？
考えてみろ。相手はセルン。レポートは40年以上も隠されてきたトップシークレットだぞ。
じゃあ見ないつもり？
お前はもう帰れ。
え？
ここから先を知ったら危険にさらされる可能性がある。お前は将来を有望視された天才だろう。
もしかして心配してくれているの？
当たり前だ。お前は俺の助手なのだからな。
そりゃどうも。でも帰らないわよ。このままじゃ気になって眠れないから。
後悔しないな。
しない。
ダルはどうする？
僕スーパーハッカーだし、見たところで足がつくようなヘマはしないっつうか。
That's a phrase. 足がつくよ
うな。分かった。ではこれよりゼリーマンズレポートの解析に入る。なお以降本作戦の名称をレーギャルンの箱とする。
レーギャルン？レーギャルン。
なんで北欧神話？
北欧神話。北欧神話。
つうかそもそも作戦名とか言い出しちゃうのって。
ダル、作戦開始だ。
へいへい。
これか。
全部でファイルは14ある。適当に開いてみるお。
ゼリーマンズレポート10、被験者ジェームス・マッカーシー。出身アメリカ。実験日2005年1月28日。Z プログラム4実験結果。ヒューマンイズデッドミスマッチ。
またそれ？
超重力による無限圧縮。
超重力による
およびカーブラックホール内の特異点通過に耐えられなかったと思われる。
特異点？
新聞か？
そうみたいね。日付
1921年4月3日。
ニューヨーク14丁目にてビルの壁面に埋もれるようにして死んでいる男。
壁面漏れるようにして
子が発見された。身元不明の男性の死体は全身がブヨブヨのゼリー状になっていた。
ブヨブヨ。クリーピ
ー。なんだこれ。
完全ではないにしろタイムトラベルに成功してるってこと。レポート8、被験者リンダ・ヒル。 出身イギリス Z プログラム4。実験日2004年2月15日。実験結果ヒューマンイズデッドミスマッチ。1972年10月2日、インドターミナルナードゥーシュダルマプリの路上でゼリー状になった女性の遺体を発見。放置された後で車にひかれた跡があり下半身は損壊。
こっちは
レポート7、被験者ミハイル・ラング。出身ドイツ Z プログラム4。実験結果ヒューマンイズデッドミスマッチ。
日本の新聞か。1936年5月24日、京都比叡山山麓で遺体発見さる。
比叡山。比叡山。山麓。比叡山山麓。
これが14人分。まだ見る？いや、もう十分だ。おかりん、飲み物買ってくる。
相当ショックだったみたいね。
けどどうしてゼリー状になるん？
これまでのデータから推測するに、
推測。このデータから推測するに。
セレンはカーブラックホールを使ってタイムトラベルの技術を開発している。だとすると10のマイナス24乗キロの質量を10のマイナス19乗メートルのところに押し込んで過去に送るわけ。この穴にこのスポンジを通そうとするようなものよ。だから中身がスカスカになる。
つまりすごく狭いってこと？
すごく狭いところに無理やりねじ込む。
その説明はエロすぎだろ、上皇。
は？
エロすぎだろ。
何がエロすぎ？は？橋田の変態。
そういう牧瀬氏もかなりの妄想力。
一緒にすんな。どうするつもり？黙ってないでよ。ショックなのはわかるけど、知ってしまった以上何らかの結論は出さなきゃ。岡部？
結論決まっているだろう。
は？
こっちには未来ガジェット8号電話レンジカッコ仮があるのだ。先に完璧なタイムマシンを作り出し、セルンを出し抜く。そして世界の支配構造を作り変えるのだ。
付き合ってらんない。
Yeah, so now kind of like they're doing like they did with the Manhattan Project, or I forgot I think that was the name of the movie where again it kind of involved time travel, and you know we always hear the story like, hey, what if, you know, they hit a ship with a large magnetic wave? What happens? You know, and you heard some stories like, you know, people getting fused within the hull of the ships and stuff like that. In this case, time travel where this person was sent back, but again, jellified. Since, you know, again, humans just cannot survive time travel like that, or organic mass probably can't survive time travel like that. It's interesting. I'm not sure about the whole human is dead mismatch. That sounds like someone who is translating from Japanese into English, and as opposed to like actually, it just doesn't sound like you know, other than a failed experiment. Experiment was not unsuccessful or something like that. So I think instead of human is mismatch would have been incompatible. Would have been a better term, I'm guessing. Okay. Yeah, that was. I'm not pausing that as much as I think I was doing, but I also know I'm probably not. I'm losing the comprehension as well, a little bit. It's not that bad. I mean, like they're describing you know, like they're describing what was happening to the victims of the time travel experiments. There's that. You know, maybe I'm missing up as to how they're able to accomplish some of this stuff. You can kind of see the point. Like, okay, there's obviously something with what is it, Amane, or the lady who wanted to get hired at the store, and then so there's obviously something up with her because she's acting like all like she's about to get attacked or something. So maybe she's from one of the people from the future, and so she knows something about, you know, this girl, Krista. Christina, Tina janakute. Okay, Krista. I'm guessing, like I said, first time, like I said, this is the first time dealing with the story. It's an interesting story. I kind of like it. It's fun. I'm laughing a lot, which is, you know what, that's kind of what you're looking for. I wasn't really laughing all that much with Evangelion, which is kind of at this level of complication, but this is just a lot more fun. Full Metal Alchemist, that was a lot easier to comprehend. It felt like the daily life. In fact, with this, if it's in the parts where it's like slice of life portion, where it's, you know, then yeah, it's easier to follow along with. Then of course they go talk about the more complicated nature of stuff, and then okay, now it becomes harder to follow. Yeah. It's kind of weird when he said lifter. I was saying LFTR, which is a liquid fluoride thorium reactor. That's what I was thinking of. This probably was something else, because that's obviously nuclear power. Well, obviously, that deals with nuclear power, and it's nothing like that fancy. It's just the liquid fluoride thorium is. Trying to think, it's just about the type you're using for the molten salt. So you're using fluoride as a salt, and again, because it's salt, when it's in liquid form, it's around about between 600 degrees Celsius and 1200 degrees Celsius. So it's a big range of it just being in liquid form, which is very good, so that it can operate at atmospheric pressure, which is much safer than if you ever seen what are called light water reactors, which. And again, you're using they're trying to use that as a regulator, like something can absorb protons in a way so you don't get out of control nuclear reactions. It doesn't go super critical. You know, it just keeps it at critical level, where, you know, again, nuclear power is happening. If you you don't want to overheat and then go basically have a runoff effect. You don't want that, because like with light water reactors, you're dealing with a solid fuel, unfortunately. So. Yeah, but liquid fuels are kind of cooler because they can mix in. So you can mix. You have to do chemical. You can do some chemical stuff with it for when you have to like processing the fuel a little bit later, like during the recirculation process, making sure you're keeping the fissile material in where it needs to be in. Because also if you're doing like the way it works is you get something like thorium, you hit it with the neutron, it decays eventually to uranium-233, which is fissile. But it's about a 10-day process because the half-life thing with the intermediate products. But anyway, so you want to make sure that's on the outside, so that's the blanket. And then once you're ready to use that thorium, you kind of like, you want to be able to get the thorium out from your blanket and put it into now the reactor. And so that's like there's like a 2-stage process with that. And you want to do it where, the best if you can do it where you don't have to then shut down the stuff to make the change. It can be part of the process, and that's kind of cool when you think about it. Easiest way they say they did it is, if you got, I think it was like, if you got thorium with four hydrogen atoms, and it's like dissolvable into water. But you have 6 hydrogen, now it's a gas, so it can be bubbled out. You can remove it that way. It's kind of an interesting process. That you have it to where it could be in these two forms, because it could be either in a whether or not you, depending on how many hydrogens it has, then it changes a chemical property. Then that allows you to separate. So the idea is like you can use it in one process to no, it's uranium. I'm sorry, it wasn't a thorium, it was uranium. So yeah, uranium uranium UH4 and UH6. Those are the ones that are in the 2 different types of gases. So the idea is like, with that idea, you could get the uranium out of the liquid form, and then get it mixed into the other liquid of what you're doing with your nuclear fuel. I don't know. I'm sorry I was going into this. It's not really that. It has zero to do with time travel. It's just nuclear power is kind of an interesting thing in that it's something we need to. It needs to be pursued in a much more serious fashion, much more broad fashion. China's exploring it a lot, much more, and it's actually very beneficial that they're exploring, because you got about 1.5 billion Chinese people that you're trying to raise out of poverty. That means you need to have energy. You don't increase the quality of life without power. You need power. Hopes and wishes only take you so far. You do need power. And power, the easiest way is with gas and coal, but you don't want to use that because it releases shit into the atmosphere and then creates a greenhouse effect. So you want to reduce the chance of that. And so the best way to do that is with nuclear power. Solar power and wind, there are some benefits there, but you can't widely apply it to 1.5 billion people. And a lot of them are like probably in dense population areas. So again, the easiest is probably with nuclear power if you want to avoid the things that create greenhouse gases. You do have some things like dams, but if you probably read in China, some of their dams kind of tend to have a bad habit of collapsing. When those collapse, you're killing a lot of people, just because of the nature of what the water is and where it's going to be going. Even if you try to keep people out of the floodplain, again, that collapses. That's a lot of people that are going to be killed, or have everything they've owned ruined, destroyed. But again, it's good. Yeah, I'm more of a proponent of nuclear power, though. I'm not a professional at it, despite my nickname. I'm hobbyist at most, but at least I know it's like I would think it's one of the best solutions when you got to do the stages. It's not a step you should skip. It's a very important step in our development, because eventually you're going to want to get to the point where you're putting solar reflectors out in orbit around the sun and reflecting power, concentrating that into certain areas, and then using that to generate electricity or power for whatever. That's what you're probably going to need to do, such as on the moon or whatnot. That would be the best way to do it. You could do nuclear power up on the moon. It's just probably easier with solar collectors, and not solar as in like we're using, which is converts power into electricity. What you want to do is concentrate the energy, then use that energy to generate electrical power. And oddly enough, though, if you've got that type of heat, because think about it, it's just heat. So if you can concentrate the heat on something, you could utilize the concept of molten salt that way, because that's how they used it with solar collectors now. You know, you put all these big mirrors into the desert, concentrate all that power into one point, which let's say you're melting salt. You melt the salt, now you've got this heat source. You've got basically a battery of heat. Move the batteries, move that liquid to somewhere else, then utilize that heat to run a generator. There you go. That's how that works, as long as you're constantly heating up the salt. Now, and that's also a way you can save it. So you heat up the salt during the day, but then you're not going to use it all up at once. So, you know, you can slowly use it over the evening. So now you've got a constant source of power over time. But again, you're still limited to weather patterns on Earth, whereas on the Moon, not really limited by weather patterns. Let's say you're at the north and south poles of the Moon, where there's probably craters, and in the craters where a comet struck it, and then so if it's a comet, there's ice, and so that's where you're going to have some collection of ice we can utilize. So that's good. Use the solar, like I was saying, solar reflectors around the sun, and then focus some of the light over to the Moon, and then get that concentrated. So now you can concentrate that light, that heat, that energy into one location, and use that to melt salt. And then that with the, you know, you got a water source, you can actually start doing some really cool shit up on the Moon. And you're in the shade, because hopefully you're inside the crater, so you're shaded from the sun. So you can kind of hopefully generate a very stable environment. Sorry. Yeah, anyway, sorry. Don't mean to be talking like this. It's just thought it was interesting. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm done here. So, good story. Looking forward to finishing it. Got about 19 more episodes to go. And hopefully I'll continue on with this 2 episodes a day thing. And keep that going. Because, yeah, that wasn't too bad. I'll still be starting reading the news in the beginning part. Do a couple of episodes. Call that a day. And, yeah. And there's things I'm doing during the day as well. The actual study process and watching stuff on TV and, watching TV shows and stuff at night with my wife. Yep. I think that's about it. I still suck in Japanese. So, yeah, there is that. Yep, I suck. Try to get better. It just, if I was doing it as seriously now as if I could have kept that up back then, yeah, just even to something as small as reading for a couple hours a day, I'm sure my level would be definitely at the, a rational person would say I was fluent in the language. But again, I didn't, so I'm not. So there you go. But yeah, it is there. It's obtainable, and it can work with pretty much any language. It's not limited to Japanese. It can be Chinese, Spanish, French, Russian. As long as there's something where you can read along to what's being spoken and look up words that you don't know. And if you can do that part quickly, so you're enjoying, you can comprehend the story and enjoy it while you're reading it. Yeah, I think you'll find you get really good really fast, relatively speaking. Thank you all very much. This is Nuke Marine, and I'll see you later. And let me say thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. All right, later, guys.